Swapped out that frying for some perfectly placed steam to create their iconic steamed cheeseburger. Invented a half.
I don't like it all over their fingers. I do love how America comes up with a gajillion different types of pie. So today we are going to check out something that gives me a lot of excitement. It's food! If you are brand new here, I'm Diane. I'm from Ireland. Sometimes I visit the States for funsies, thanks to my patrons and channel members. Something else you need to know about me is I really like eating food, like a really lot, but not like healthy food. Food that's kind of bad for me. You might call it comfort food, which leads me to today's video. We're gonna check out the favorite comfort food from every single state. We will be checking out a channel called Mashed, which is a channel I don't think I've checked out before, so I'm really excited. I feel like I know some of them, but maybe I don't. There's biscuits and gravy, that's a comfort food somewhere. Let's see.
Get ready for a mouthwatering journey from crispy fried green tomatoes to silky, slippery dumplings and the underdog food favorite. Indulge in the #1 comfort foods across states, north and south. Made from thick, chunky slices of fresh green tomato that have been dipped in egg and flour or cornmeal and then fried to golden perfection, fried green tomatoes are the epitome of classic Southern cooking. The dish started as a way to use up unripe tomatoes.
I'm surprised they look like that. I've seen the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, but I've not actually had a fried green tomato. Tomatoes, or tomatoes as we call them, are good. Fried everything is good. I'd imagine they taste good.
Before they could spoil, and has grown into a staple of Alabama home cooking. Tangy and savory with a
Alabama.
satisfying crunch in every bite, these Montgomery faves only get better when dipped in a bit of remoulade or spicy mayonnaise. Throughout Alaska, king crab legs are a favorite regardless of whether they've been boiled, grilled, steamed, or baked. Tender, sweet, and succulent on their own, and only better when dipped in a vat of butter, the king crab has come to serve as a symbol of Alaska's resilience. Harvested in the cold waters of the Bering Sea, this prized delicacy is especially treasured by locals who get to enjoy it at its freshest.
I'm not a seafood fan, but I appreciate other people like them.
Chimichangas are made from grilled tortillas that have been filled with ingredients ranging from shredded
I've
chicken
heard
to
of
beef
these.
to pork, and are then rolled up like a burrito and deep fried until golden brown. An Arizona favorite, they provide everything you could want in a classic comfort food. Satisfying crunch, hot savory filling, and mouth-watering toppings like sour cream, hot sauce, and guacamole. It's enough to make even the saltiest superhero fall in love.
That sounds good.
Chicken and dumplings are typically made from a biscuit-like mixture of flour, baking powder, salt, and milk. The dumpling, which is then dropped into a pot with hot broth
What's
and
a
chicken
dumpling?
and cooked until doughy, like a noodle. Once a staple for lower-income families, the dish has become a favorite throughout the state of Arkansas, including some of Little Rock's most high-end restaurants.
Just flour?
When you think of California cuisine, fish tacos likely come to mind. And for good reason. They were created by street vendors working along the coast who wanted a delicious, portable way to sell their catch of the day. The battered and fried chunks of cod, halibut, or tilapia served in a warm tortilla and topped with greens, tomato, onion, and lime juice epitomize everything fresh and sunny and ocean-packed that there is to love about the Golden State.
They're so good. I mean, look at this beautiful taco.
In and
Not
around the
for me.
Rockies, people from Colorado are often called greenies due to the state's distinctive green license plates. But there's another reason to call Colorado locals greenies as well: their love of chili verde, or green chili. A popular dish first dreamt up by Spanish settlers, green chili is a slow-cooked mixture of pork or chicken plus green chilies, potatoes, beans, or tomatoes. It's a hearty, spicy, and slightly sweet stew that's perfect for the state's outdoor active lifestyle. And
I don't think I've specifically had it by this name, but I've certainly tried stew. Like, I'm from Ireland. I feel like perhaps I've had a variation on this, but not this specifically.
unpredictable weather. The beloved hamburger already holds a place in the Comfort Food Hall of Fame, but in Connecticut, they've swapped out that frying for some perfectly placed steam to create their iconic steamed cheeseburger. Invented a half-century ago in the small town of Meriden, steamed cheeseburgers take everything you already love about regular burgers and make them better. They're juicier, the cheese is meltier, and the bun is even more moist and delicious. Yum! Delaware's slippery dumplings are a wildly popular regional variation on the beloved staple chicken and noodles. In this case, the dish originated with
like
the Pennsylvania
chicken and
Dutch,
noodles.
who also settled parts of Delaware. Slippery dumplings are a lot like traditional noodles, but also chewier and more satisfying, thanks to their jumbo size. Because of their thickness, slippery noodles also tend to soak up all the flavors of the chicken broth they're cooked in, creating a delicious combo of savory and slightly sweet flavors in every bite.
I didn't try those in Pennsylvania. It didn't come up. Nobody suggested it to me. I get all my ideas from you in comments, so be sure to comment stuff. I read them, especially in the first hour club, the first hour of uploading. So that's why you need to turn on your notifications if you're interested in me responding to you. Maybe you're not. Anyway.
Believed by many to have been created in the Florida Keys in the mid-1890s by a woman
Oh,
known only as
I
Aunt
tried
Sally,
this.
key lime pie is a classic comfort food dessert loved for its unique mixture of tangy, creamy, and sweet flavors. The pie typically consists of a graham cracker crust that is filled with a mixture of sweetened condensed milk, key lime juice, and egg yolks, and then baked until set. It's then topped with lush whipped cream or frothy meringue, making it the perfect relaxing comfort food. Not to be outdone by its neighbor to the south, Georgia too chooses pie as its favorite comfort food of choice. Only in this case, it's a pie that pairs perfectly with the state's official moniker of the peach state. It's peach pie.
Slice of peach. Best in Georgia.
Peach
Made with
pie.
fresh, juicy peaches that are baked between 2 layers of flaky golden crust, peach pies have become a staple of Georgia cuisine, as the dessert is the go-to option for countless family gatherings and picnics.
I do love how America comes up with a gajillion different types of pie. And I don't know if I'll ever have gotten around to trying them all. I do have an ambition to cook an apple pie myself. Cooking doesn't always go so well for me.
In Hawaiian culture for centuries, poke bowls exploded in popularity
I love
across
a
the
poke
mainland in the last
bowl.
few years. But if you want good, authentic poke, you have to go back to where the dish first started. A typical poke bowl consists of diced raw fish, soy sauce, sesame oil, onions, and seaweed served over white rice. And you don't have to
Where?
get fancy to get good poke. Some of the island's best comes from casual on-the-go settings, like gas stations and convenience stores. Idaho may be known as the
I always assumed poke bowls were Asian. But you learn something new every day. Poke? I always said pokey if I've been saying it wrong.
potato state, but when it comes to comfort foods, its residents choose beef all the way. A half-century or so back, a chef in Boise started serving up finger-sized strips of breaded, battered, deep-fried top brown steak, and a regional favorite was born. Finger steaks have been popular throughout the state ever since. Typically served with a side of cocktail
Finger
sauce,
steak.
these crispy, tender shards of beef are salty and savory on the outside and moist and juicy inside. Perfect for a quick snack or a
They
full-on
look
meal.
yummy.
Finger steaks. You have some strange foods in Iowa.
They look yummy. But they also look really bad for you. Not that that would stop me, but just saying.
Ever heard the term pizza pie? If so, then you might have been talking to someone from Illinois, where the Chicago-style pizza reigns supreme. The ultimate deep dish treat, Chicago-style pizzas were created as an alternative to trendy, thin crust pizzas of the 1940s. They typically consist of a thick,
I did
buttery
it.
crust, tomato sauce, cheese, and toppings, plus a selection of meats and vegetables served in thick swaths, almost like a savory Italian layer cake. Delish. But is it really pizza?
This is not pizza. This is tomato soup in a bread bowl.
The European nation of Austria and the state of Indiana may not appear to have much in common at first glance, but they have one big thing in common. The populations of both love tenderloin. In Austria, it's the Wiener Schnitzel, and the comfort food of choice in Indiana is the pork tenderloin sandwich, a slab of luscious pork tenderloin thinly pounded, breaded, and served on a billowy bun. Talk about
Pounded.
comfort. It doesn't matter how you
That
prepare
looks
these
good.
golden years, folks in Iowa can't get enough of the ever-popular summer staple, sweet corn. The comfort food of choice in the Hawkeye State, Iowa is the largest producer of corn in the nation, and the home to some of the most incredible, fresh, sweet corn you may ever get a chance to gnaw off the cob.
Although it is really hard to eat sweet corn and look not gross. Also, I love to slather it in Kerrygold butter. Again, where is my commission Kerrygold? I've converted so many people to Irish Kerrygold butter. But there is no substitute for it. It is the greatest butter in the world. It is worth the extra few dollars.
Get from that leafy green husk, cook until tender, douse it in butter, and let your taste buds soar. It's hard to imagine, but there was once a time when barbecue pitmasters cut off the ends of the brisket and threw them away, thinking no one would want them because they were burnt. They eventually caught on to the error of their ways, and burnt ends, the rich, smoky, and crisp yet juicy tips of barbecued brisket, have become the star of the show ever since. In Kansas City, in particular, home to great barbecue, burnt ends are the comfort food of choice for many. Kentucky's
Are they actually good? Let me know below in comments. The burnt bits, sometimes rashers, not bacon, rashers burnt bits are the best. Bacon's a whole other thing. They're like a whole different thing. They're not, but they are.
Hot brown sandwich is a late-night snack turned comfort food classic. Created by Fred K. Schmidt, a
Hot
chef at Louisville's Brown Hotel in the 1920s, the dish was originally intended to feed out-of-town guests and locals who had danced in the hotel's ballroom until the wee hours. Schmidt dreamt up an open-faced sandwich of turkey, bacon, and cheesy Mornay sauce, which he then baked and served hot. The sandwich was an immediate hit and has been quenching cravings ever since. No dish says Louisiana more than jambalaya, a centuries-old pairing of Spanish paella plus French and African culinary traditions and cooking techniques. Jambalaya usually includes a selection of meat, vegetables, and spices, all simmered together with rice in a tomato-based broth. It's a savory and slightly sweet entree with a subtle kick of heat that Louisianans can't help but crave.
So I've been in Spain, and something I really, really, really want to try, again, don't eat seafood, is chicken paella. And everybody says that it's everywhere, but I cannot find it anywhere. So if you happen to know a good chicken paella place in or around Marbella, let me know.
Prior to the 1800s, lobster was considered a poor man's food and in such low demand that farmers used lobster meat to fertilize their fields. Today, though, lobster is a high-end entree and something nobody loves more than the folks living in Maine. As the largest lobster-producing state in the nation, maniacs know a thing or two about preparing in-demand seafood, and they can't get enough of the lobster roll, chunks of fresh lobster mixed with mayo and served atop a buttery toasted bun. It's a comfort food classic. Like the
So how did it become so expensive, lobster? If it was a cheap and affordable thing, was that just marketing? Was it just marketing?
lobster roll, crab cakes are another dish inspired by a regional abundance of seafood. In this case, Maryland and the state's incredible blue crabs. A classic Maryland crab cake usually includes fresh lump crab meat, mayonnaise, breadcrumbs, Old Bay seasoning, mustard, and Worcestershire sauce. These ingredients are mixed together and shaped into patties that are then fried or broiled until crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. It's a dish so popular that locals have been scarfing it down for nearly a century. Another East Coast state, another perfect seafood-inspired comfort dish. This time, it's clam chowder, the comfort food of choice throughout the state of Massachusetts. This simple yet hearty soup, which combines chopped clams, potatoes, onions, bacon, and either milk or cream, has been uber popular throughout the Bay State since at least the 18th century. In fact, America's oldest restaurant, the Union Oyster House in Boston, has been serving the soup consistently on its menu since the place first opened up way back in 1826.
I've heard of clam chowder. I don't know why I say it like that. I think it's in a movie, someone saying clam chowder. But I don't really know what it is. Like, obviously, there's seafood in it. Is there variations on it? Maybe. Is it spicy? Chowder sounds like a word that would sound like be spicy.
What does a Coney Island-inspired hot dog end up the comfort food of choice in Michigan?
Ooh.
Think Greek immigrants who were inspired by the hot dogs they ate in Brooklyn and took that idea west to their new homes. Numerous Coney Island-style restaurants popped up throughout Detroit in the early 1900s, and some are still in operation today. The star of their menu? The classic Coney, a beef hot dog topped with all-meat chili, yellow mustard, and diced onions, and served in a warm, steamed bun. What could be better than a classic all-beef cheeseburger? Well, if you're from Minnesota, your answer has got to be the Juicy Lucy. A beloved Minnesota delicacy, the Juicy Lucy is a rich, savory beef burger stuffed with cheese. And as that burger cooks, that cheese melts into a molten core of golden gooey goodness, just waiting for you to bite into.
I don't like it all over their fingers. And somebody said to me before, like doing mukbangs, I kind of do mukbangs. I do taste tests more so, but they're kind of mukbangs. That I should be a messier eater, and I just can't do it. I've just barely managed to get around cutting out the bits where I actually chew the food because I was like so put off by my own chewing. I just can't do it. I'm a dropper, but I'm not a messy eater. Like if it gets on my hands and stuff, I have a lot of quirks. They can be problematic.
Towners may add onions, pickles, or bacon, but locals keep it simple and let their Lucy shine. As legend has it, Mississippi's po' boy got its start when a pair of former streetcar conductors turned restaurateurs and opened a popular eatery. To give back to the community, they handed out free sandwiches to folks who were down on their luck. The sandwiches varied considerably. Some had roast beef, some contained chicken fingers, and some packed fried seafood. But they all had one thing in common. They were served on a French-style baguette they called po' boy bread. The name stuck, and Mississippians are still clamoring for the sandwich even now. The story of toasted ravioli is a simple one. A tired Missouri chef was rushing to finish an order he was working on when he accidentally dropped a few large ravioli in hot oil instead of boiling water. The restaurant's owner tried to salvage them with some Parmesan, and everyone loved them. Soon, these toasted ravioli were popping up throughout St. Louis before spreading across the Show Me State to the rest of the country.
I guess the only thing I did was get some toasted ravioli. I grew up on that, so anytime I come back here, I always got to eat it.
Stop! I want to try that a very, very lot. That sounds amazing. I love ravioli. I really, really, really love ravioli.
A classic Native American dish that's been popular in Montana for generations, fry bread tacos take everything there is to love about Mexican food and elevate it with the warm, yeasty, crisp bite you can only get from fresh baked bread. Starting with fried bread, you then top it with spicy seasoned ground beef, tomatoes, cheese, salsa, and sour cream. No wonder the fried bread taco is such a favored comfort staple. If you haven't spent a lot of time in Nebraska, then the Runza sandwich may be a mystery. But for any true Cornhusker, there's no debating the incredible appeal of the Runza. Believed to have been brought to the state in the late 1800s by
what
German
is that
and
bread?
Russian immigrants. A typical Runza consists of savory pastry dough that's stuffed with ground beef, onions, and cabbage, and then baked to a crispy golden brown. The regional delicacy is so popular that it's even inspired a fast food chain which operates almost...
That's the girl from The Walking Dead, Laura. I love that character. She's very good. She's a good actress. Underrated. Like it was a secondary role. I thought she was very good.
exclusively within the state. Maybe it's Nevada's link to all those famous 19th century cattle drives. Maybe it's because Las Vegas was home to the country's first ever all-you-can-eat buffet, where prime rib was a main attraction. Maybe it's the famous roaming prime rib cart at Laurie's The Prime Rib in Las Vegas, which carves and serves up slice after slice of succulent prime rib tableside. Whatever the reason, when it comes to comfort food in Nevada, nothing gets more love than tender, juicy prime rib. Comfort foods often blossom in regions where ingredients aren't the greatest supply. So what do locals in New Hampshire, one of the nation's leaders in the production of maple syrup, flock to when looking for a taste of home? Maple syrup, of course. And what goes better with the kick of maple than a mountain of pillowy, soft, warm, buttery pancakes? And they're not just for breakfast. Throw some bacon or sausage on the plate to sop up that syrup, and you've got a classic comfort meal for any hour. Depending on where you grew up in Jersey, you may call the state's official sandwich a pork roll, or you might call it a Taylor ham. But however you order it, the ingredients are the same. Slices of processed, smoked pork roll ham that's pan-fried until crispy and then topped with egg and cheese and then placed between 2 slices of a Kaiser roll or sliced bagel. It's simple, it's affordable, it's versatile, it works for every meal. And for folks living in the Garden State, nothing tastes more like home.
That is a comfort food. Like, that is the key with comfort food. Simple. Some of these are like very delicious looking, but also like quite complicated. Like, comfort food is like, you know, when you feel really crappy and you just want to pig out. And like, what is my comfort food? I've like a few different comfort foods. When I say a few, I mean a lot. But one I really like to go back to when I'm with my parents, aka when my mom cooks it for me, is a rasher sandwich. Plain, simple rasher sandwich, which is 2 pieces of white bread, butter, Kerrygold, rashers, sort of like close to being a little bit burnt because they are just crispier that way, and ketchup. Oh, simple, so good.
Go to the store, I say pork roll, egg and cheese.
One of the most popular of all comfort foods in New Mexico is what's known as albondigas, or Mexican meatball soup. Imagine a sea of homemade beef and pork meatballs swimming in a zesty tomato broth with some added chunks of carrots, potato, and zucchini. And you have a pretty good idea just why this dish is so widely loved across the state. Talk about comfort.
Ooh,
Buffalo wings were created in Buffalo, New York at the Anchor Bar, which is still in operation today. These crispy fried wings are doused in a tangy, spicy sauce and served up with a side of blue cheese dressing, plus celery. They remain a favorite across the Empire State even now, nearly 60 years later, and have spread across the nation to become a favorite of sports fans everywhere.
3,000 tangy wings packed in a black
I love wings!
straight through your window in time for kickoff.
North Carolinians know that few culinary dishes pack more beauty than a giant piece of pork shoulder slow
That's
cooking
North
over fire
Carolina?
coals. The hours-long process infuses the meat with rich, smoky flavor while also breaking it down until it's melt-in-your-mouth tender. When it's done, pull it apart to serve it, and you've got a Carolina pulled pork.
Okay, so I only had pulled pork for the first time like 5 years ago, and I would definitely say it's one of those things that I would not cook for myself, because like she just said, like marinating it and like leaving it to sit in its juices, I just haven't got the patience. But good pulled pork, oh my god, I think I had pulled pork in Texas. Oh, I didn't know it was a North Carolina thing.
The only thing left to debate is whether you top it with the vinegar-based sauce popular in the eastern part of the state or the tomato-based sauce popular in the west. Choices, choices, choices. Leave it to the folks in North Dakota, one of the nation's leading producers of potatoes, to figure out the ideal way to make an already craveable potato even more delicious. All you have to do is dip your chips in chocolate, of course. It may sound odd, but the unique marriage of salty and sweet is an ideal union. And this is...
Okay, I'm not against this, but chipper in Ireland is a chipper is where you go to get your fish and chips, as in what you would call in America French fries, but not like the thin French fries that you know, like juicy, greasy, deep fried potatoes. So while this looks amazing, and again, 2 contrasting things that probably taste amazing together, I know there's more of you than there is of us in Ireland, but can you call it something except chippers?
It's one treat you don't have to live in North Dakota to experience. Just melt some chocolate and add a chip. It's that simple. The Buckeye is a classic Ohio comfort food that you have to try at least once in your life. This candy confection consists of a ball of peanut butter and sugar dough that's been dipped in chocolate and then chilled until firm. The name for the candy comes from the state's official tree, which produces a similar looking nut that is mostly dark brown with a speck of lighter brown that is said to resemble the eye of a deer. Clever.
That looks
pretty darn
amazing.
tasty. Like Indiana's breaded pork tenderloin sandwich, Oklahoma's comfort food of choice also draws inspiration from the classic Austrian dish Wiener Schnitzel. Only in
I
this
wanna
case,
try
the protein
that.
in question is a breaded piece of steak, and instead of eating it between 2 pieces of bread, the classic chicken fried steak is typically served next to a mound of mashed potatoes and topped with a rich, savory gravy.
I'm
It's
so
the
hungry.
perfect down-home traditional meal for one of the states that leads the nation in beef production.
Nothing wrong with green beans and a chicken fried steak.
Named after the Pacific Coast town known as Dungeness, where it was first harvested commercially, Dungeness crab has been a staple of the Oregon culinary landscape for decades. And for good
Not
reason.
for me.
As fresh seafood goes, it's among the best you can eat. Sweet, delicate, and slightly nutty flavored, the meat from the crab is tender and moist, and perfect with just a slight hit of butter or freshly squeezed lemon. In Pennsylvania, the comfort food of choice combines bits
Aw.
of ham, bacon, sausage, and other unwanted pork scraps, plus cornmeal and spices to make something altogether new and unique. Scrapple. Cut into slices
Wait.
and fried up with breakfast, or cubed and added to omelets, soup, or stew, scrapple is a meat product you have to try in order to truly appreciate.
Know what's in it.
Eyeballs and tongues.
Has everything imaginable in it.
Rhode Island has taken clams in a different direction with the stuffy. Made from fresh chopped clams, plus breadcrumbs, butter, onions, celery, garlic, and spices, the stuffy mixes all the ingredients together, scoops them into a shell, and bakes them until golden brown. For many who grew up in the Ocean State, stuffies epitomize summer and family trips to the beach. Exactly the memories you want from a beloved comfort meal. The comfort food that folks in South Carolina jones for the most is actually a dip, and an incredible one at that, pimento cheese. Made from a simple blend of grated sharp cheddar cheese, plus diced pimentos and mayonnaise, this spreadable comfort in a bowl is great with fresh veggies or crackers.
I mean-
it can also be used in sandwiches. Try it in a grilled cheese. Life-changing.
I just like cheese. TBH, so looks good to me.
Whether people in South Dakota are attending a festival, a fair, or a backyard barbecue, there's always one amazing comfort food on the menu: chislik. A variation of the Persian word shishlik, chislik is a play on the classic shish kebab, brought to the region by German and Russian immigrants who settled the area in the late 1800s. The dish typically consists of bite-sized cubes of lamb, beef, or venison that are seasoned with garlic, onion, and black pepper, and then grilled or deep-fried. Everybody knows and loves classic American fried chicken, but kick that crisp, juicy
Sorry. Nothing against this stock video person. But see, that's what I don't want in my taste test videos. Isn't that just, I don't know, maybe some of you like that, but I don't know. Anyway, Tennessee hot chicken rolls.
treat up a notch by adding cayenne pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and black pepper, and you've got a Tennessee favorite, hot chicken. Believed to be the result of another fortuitous kitchen blunder when a chef accidentally added too much spice in her fried chicken, the dish has now become part of the cultural fabric of Nashville.
Wow.
Make sure to order yours with dill pickles. The cool acidity helps to cut through all that fire.
Dill pickle.
Texas is the home of Tex-Mex, an incredible fusion of traditional Mexican and American cuisines. And the star of the Tex-Mex family is chili con carne. Originally derived from a traditional Mexican stew of meat and chili peppers, the dish is
mom
a
makes
hearty
that.
and easily transportable food that was a natural fit for the Lone Star State's early cowboys and settlers. Made from a mix of ground beef, chili peppers, onions, tomatoes, and spices, chili con carne is great on its own and even more spectacular when topped with shredded cheese, sour cream, and diced onions. Don't worry, funeral potatoes aren't actually deadly. That's just the name Utah's Mormon community has given this highly comforting potato casserole
Wow.
classic. It's ideal for a lazy Sunday brunch, large family get-together, or any community potluck. The basic funeral potato recipe includes cubed potatoes, cream of mushroom soup, sour cream, and shredded cheddar cheese mixed together, and topped with cornflakes or breadcrumbs before baking. Creamy, savory,
Cornflakes!
and perfect for sharing. Vermont is home to some of the world's top apple orchards and is a leader in the production of apple cider, so adding that crisp, refreshing juice to donuts was a natural idea. Apple cider donuts are typically made from a mixture of flour, sugar, baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, eggs, butter, and of course, apple cider. The dough is fried and then coated with a thick layer of cinnamon and sugar. Look for homemade versions at farmers markets and roadside stands throughout the state. They're a Vermont staple.
Me and my friend tried to try apple cider vinegar as like a diet thing a number of years ago, and one little taste and I nearly like threw up all over the floor. Sorry to be graphic. It was disgusting. I think that donut looked amazing, but I don't know how when it's made with apple cider vinegar.
Long before Egg McMuffins, there was the Virginia ham biscuit, one of the first portable grab-and-go meals and a classic Old Dominion comfort food even today. First created back in the colonial era,
That
ham
looks
biscuits
nice.
were originally all about the ham. Almost all rural families raised and smoked their own meat, and putting a couple of slices of that homegrown ham in the middle of a fresh biscuit, perhaps with some added mustard, mayo, or honey, was considered
Great
an
idea.
ideal way to help the meat shine. Washington State is one of the leading producers of sweet cherries in the U.S.
Cherry
And when you have a lot of
pie!
cherries, you make cherry pie. This delicious confection has been a popular dessert and one of the state's most beloved comfort foods since settlers first arrived in the region and brought their cherry trees with them. A perfect mixture of sweet and tart flavors, cherry pie ticks off all the boxes for just what makes a comfort food so appealing. One of West Virginia's most beloved
I haven't tried cherry pie, I don't think, but it is so American, like cherry pie. Cherry pie is like so American. I would like to try it. I'm not a huge cherry fan, but like it's just a classic, right?
regional specialties, the pepperoni roll is a bit like a rolled up slice of pizza, except it's made with a thicker, flakier bread dough, and the average pepperoni roll tends to be stuffed with way more filling. Mountains of pepperoni, shredded mozzarella, onion, peppers, and marinara sauce, all heated to perfection inside the portable bread shell. Originally created by Italian immigrants working in the state's coal mines, the humble pepperoni roll has since gone on to become the official meal of the Mountain State. Wisconsin is known for its cheese, so it's no surprise that their favorite comfort food is a cheese-based dish, cheese curds by...
Okay, I had this one in Culver's. Oh, that was so good. Check out my Culver's video. That was like such good food. Oh my God.
Sized chunks of leftover fresh cheese that are produced during the making of other cheeses like cheddar, Colby, or Monterey Jack are one of the state's most popular appetizers and snacks. The shards of cheese, which squeak when you eat them raw, are batter dipped and then deep fried to gooey perfection. Wyoming is one of the largest states in the nation, but also the least populated. Fortunately, all that wide open space leaves plenty of room for natural wonders, including the country's largest herds of buffalo, or bison. Bison burgers use some of that abundant meat, swapping it for beef in any classic hamburger recipe. The result is a leaner, greasier, slightly sweet-tasting burger that folks in the Equality State can't get enough of, with the popularity of bison burgers exploding in recent years.
Well, that was super interesting, and it makes me think I want to try like 90% of those. I'm a little off put by the seafood ones, but to be honest, I'd give it a go for you. I would. I'd do that for you. Shout out today to a couple of patrons.
Today's shout out goes to the members of Squad. These are my peeps. These are my homies. These are the executive producers of the Chun Chun. Each and every one of you makes it possible to make these videos, and Chewy and I are so grateful. He's especially grateful for all of his treatouts. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your pets. Thank you to Squad.
Thank you so much, guys. That's it for today. See you on the other side. Bye.